Hey ho.
Oh, what up, man? How we doing?
Doing good, doing good. Like nearing the end of the not really the end of the day, but like afternoon here. Like nice weather, so can't complain.
Yeah, much easier for the Europe time zone than the U.S. Pacific time zone. Does not love the timing of this show, but we make it
Nah,
work.
it's good. It's a 5 p.m. show here.
That's it, right? That's it. Nice, man. Really excited to chat. So you're the COO of
hmm
FXHash, which you know I think known as kind of one of the
We had a
like
long
really
journey.
long journey, one of the like really early NFT art platforms on Tezos.
hmm
Actually don't have a ton of context what's been happening between then and now with diving into your launch last week, which looks really cool. So maybe to start, can you just kind of fill us in on
hmm
actually I guess for maybe first question is I think just so many people in the crypto art community, especially with
hmm
just the state of it today, are just so
hmm
nostalgic for like those Tezos kind of FX
hmm
hat days. So I'm curious maybe to start like what did you guys really have right back then, because it felt like a pretty
hmm
a special moment in on-chain
hmm
art.
Yeah, I think like you have to look back at what the space was in 2021 when we launched, right? ETH was still proof of work. Like the gas fees were insane. Yes, a lot of people could pay them because they were early to ETH, but also a lot of people, especially people not in the EU or especially not in the US, like they couldn't pay, like, and they couldn't participate. And I think this was like one of the biggest reasons that initially helped Tesla so much because it was cheap. Back then, there also was like the environmental debate happening with like ETH is killing the environment. And so I think naturally a lot of artists felt good to release on Tezos. A lot of artists themselves didn't come from these backgrounds that had a lot of ETH, so there really wasn't like the overlap of this like Venn diagram wasn't there yet. But soon, sort of like that happened. So when like the art blocks craze came in, our founder and also generative artist Seifert, he himself sort of like wanted to see like how can he release on art blocks. Ultimately, he realized there's like a 1 year queue, and that he really can't release. So he essentially said, "Fuck it, I'll just build a platform and." I'll build a platform that I want as a generative artist, and I think that really like hit the right spot on the artist side because now suddenly it's an open platform. Anyone could create. And that was also the reason why I think within the first 100,000 projects sort of like that appeared on FXH, the quality was insane because a lot of the artists like worked on these algorithms for 5 to 10 years, similar to like the curated releases we're now seeing on like Verse, AB, Fellowship, FXHash. Like it's
Hmm.
exactly the same. Like they worked on this for a long time and they just didn't have a platform to release it upon, but now they had, and that is why I think we had like a lot and still continue to have, but also especially back then had like an insane quality of mints that were happening. And for the collectors, it was easy. Like it was a cheaper and better way to collect. Yes, there was this discussion of my art is not an ETH1, what will happen? But like even if Tezos goes down and Tezos is not as relevant anymore on like the general chain things happening in the ecosystem, like you can always run a Tezos node. Like the art will always survive. It's not about the art and surviving. I think that's like an easy, cheap take. Like if Maxi said times take that like only things on ETH can exist. Like I don't subscribe to it, but I understand where it's coming from. But yeah, I think that was like the initial question of how we started, and then since then a lot of things have happened.
Yeah, let's get to that because I think from obviously it was like I was a light participant in
hmm
kind of NFT art. I think when
hmm
Artbox came out, it was just like a really interesting, fun thing to participate in. I think obviously like PFP Mania was fun for its
hmm
own reasons, but it seemed to me like I guess when I got into crypto, like FX Hash was very much kind of the center of art culture, and then I feel like this kind of chaotic speculative NFT media that happened on ETH kind of took the spotlight away
hmm
from it, and I've kind of lost touch with the platform. So we'd love for you to catch us up on what's happened since.
Yeah, that definitely. So I mean, we essentially after 2021, we like bootstrapped for a year, so essentially survived off the fees that we had. Then sort of like came to a crossing point because obviously we also saw exactly the same developments of okay, will we survive if you're only on Tezos? And the answer back then was no. But back then our answer really was more like okay, let's try the multi-chain approach. We had a lot of, not a lot of, but like a few startups copying and also raising just with the premise of we're building FXH on ETH or on like Optimism or like wherever. But like that was like the whole pitch, and we thought, okay, if they raise like 2 million on this, why just don't we do it ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that was the plan. That was what we like. We then raised like around 5 million, that by 1KX, and essentially used that money to first go onto ETH. We then went on to ETH, but by that time, the train didn't pass in that sense, but it wasn't enough to sustain like a business in like a economical way. And then sort of like thought, okay, what can we do if we have this infrastructure already on ETH? Then why not also like open up on Base? By that time, we talked with a lot of L2s because we again thought, okay, EVM will be the winner of this race, and we just need to be on there. ETH L1 might not scale right now, so let's search for a value aligned L2. And back then, I think that was like beginning of 2024, we decided on Base and launched on there, and then just like quietly built like our tech stack up. We tried out a lot of different things during that time. We tried to go like really deep in the art world, went to like Art Basel, went to like Parifoto. We tried out like generative fashion, like had like a scarf or like generative tattoos like I have here with like artists like this. We tried out a bunch of things, and a lot of these things are still in the back of our head. But ultimately, I think the biggest evolution of the platform has happened over the past, or like has launched in the past week, but has happened in the weeks before, which is sort of like the FXH protocol, where we have launched our own ecosystem token that is not only like it's not like a governance token that is just there and you can stake it, but rather it is and will be the core premise of everything we are doing and like going forward. So you need ethics. Like we didn't run any campaigns. We just airdropped it to old collectors and artists, especially putting like a focus on artists, like giving back to the people that supported us. And then really right now what is happening is that we are slowly introducing more art forms. We are starting with a new introduction of like generative art, which is what we call open form. And I know there are like a lot of new semantics that I'm using right now. But trust me, it will get easier once I use the product in that sense. But yeah, we use that. You essentially we allow or like let artists upload their own art coins, what we call it. It's just an ERC20 token, similar to how Zora did creator coins in that sense. And we are trying to build up a new economy that actually works and that actually has a proven business model. So to mint, you need Artcoin plus pay a small mint fee that the artist can decide, mostly in ETH. So you always have like this like double thing. And to buy the Artcoin, you need to buy with an FXH. And that's like the really rough economics behind it. I can go into all of the aspects and why I think it can showcase that generative art is not that, NFTs are not that, and stuff like this really is only the beginning. But yeah, happy to answer any questions. Maybe that's easier than me just rambling.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe let's start with, I'm curious what the kind of initial insight into this was. Was it kind of just like taking a look around the space and see it's like Zora is kind of, coining at everything. Obviously meme coins have gone fire. People like the simplicity of that game. So was it like, how do we combine that kind of, liquid fungible token meme coin game with art, or like what led you to it?
Yes and no. I mean, ultimately there are like two user groups, right? There's like artists and collectors, but that is not really it. Like there's people that care about the art and want to collect art and want to collect digital art. They would collect digital art if it would be on crypto, without crypto, but they care for digital art as the art form. And that's like the one premise, sort of like that we have had and always will have, like generative art, but also digital art will become more relevant with each year, with each baby that is born and gets an iPad in their face at like 2 years old. Like that baby will be slightly like it's not good, but like that baby will like digital art when they grow up, like long-term horizon thinking, right? So digital art will become more relevant. So now we need an economic model that supports this. What economic model works in crypto? It's like fungible liquid trading tokens, and these are like ERC20 tokens or or meme coins. Like it works on like any chain. It's like chain agnostic. What doesn't work is having essentially investing in artists and only being able to invest in specific primary pieces like mint at random, or invest in secondary pieces. Because even though you might think you're investing in the artist, you still need one person that likes your one specific edition that you have, and that like just like in terms of like matchmaking process, like it makes no sense. There's no market maker for this. It's super hard to find a trade, even if you think like Tyler Hobbs is the best artist in the space, or like William Apan. Like if you have to buy like a specific cyclone, anti-cyclone, heck, it will be hard for you to sell it. But imagine if you just have $Mapan or $Cypher or $Hops, like it is so much easier for a participant to like engage, trade, and speculate with it. And then also you have like these or benefits that you can also just use your altcoin as your allow list for future drops. You can say, okay, my artwork costs X amount of money, X amount of altcoin, plus an ETH fee. And that I think really is the truly genius flywheel that we have built that not a lot of people have realized yet. With each mint that happens, like token supply gets decreased. So if you have an artist and you're continuing to release works, then over time, like there's less supply, the demand is same or potentially increases because people realize that you're a good artist. What happens is like simple econ 101. At some point there will be a supply crunch. And at some point the token has to or will go up over time because demand is the same, supply gets less. And that's sort of like the economic thinking of this new model, and obviously the same applies for FXH. With each new altcoin getting released, there's an FXH sync into the altcoin. So like the model should in theory work if what we're doing is ultimately art. And sort of like we're still doing art, it's still an art first platform, but it just accepts the economic reality of the space that we are in. And rather than shying away from it, I think we're embracing it. And I think personally that's like a good thing because like ultimately crypto is inherently financial and crypto or like finance will ultimately run on crypto, like all of it. That's where we are going. So why shouldn't we, if we are a crypto adjacent space within digital art, why shouldn't we be the early adopters of this?
For sure. So maybe just to make sure I understand the mechanism properly. So an artist, they release an art coin alongside a piece of generative art. If I can buy that art coin to get kind of broad exposure to that piece of art, and then if I want to, I can use that coin to actually mint a new piece, re-roll if I want to. I think I saw there's mention of like some evolution. So
exactly.
I guess,
that's like the open form aspect of it. Okay. But like overall, like we will expand the FXH protocol to all forms of digital art. So it can be AI work, one-of-ones, editions. So I like the concept will always be the same. It's like you have to pay for specific artist's work, you pay an art coin plus ETH, so that the artist, because ultimately the artist is not receiving the art coin, but it's just blocked away, and that is sort of like what creates this like supply decrease. But the artist still needs to get paid. So that's like on the one hand they get the ETH fee, on the other hand they get 0.75% of the total trading volume of the altcoin. So again, like speculation is in that sense good because speculation pays the artist, and and then I can go into open form, but like I think it's important to first understand like the overall concept, and then we can also go into open form to like which is like the first rollout of like this also because we needed to regenerate it in the art space because it was a bit boring.
I'm super curious. Like, I think one of the biggest pain points that I really remember from, I don't know, platforms like this and from crypto art TM in general, is what you outlined as then there's two parties, artists and collectors. But that's always felt a bit like a myth to me. Like as an artist, like I was really happy to like buy other people's artworks and participate in whatever, buying PFPs and flipping them or just along the whole way. And so I'm really curious, like on the platform, maybe in the past year, is the collector class real? Is the artist class real? Or like how are people participating on FXHash these days?
I think that's a good question. I think the sort of like collector class in that sense has shifted a bit. Like again, we come from this Tezos background where there was a lot of like value driven, and then sort of like a lot of pride also in being underground, sort of like them being okay that ETH is like the big thing. But right now, Base and like EVM accounts for 98% of our transactions. So we've not really swapped out our user base, but partially swapped, but also partially migrated them, sort of like, and migrated them to maybe like the values that lie more within the EVM ecosystem. The artists, I think they're mostly the same, but also because we so far in that sense have only ever release generative art. With our approach to sort of like opening up, we'll have like a whole new class of artists sort of like coming in that we haven't touched before. And as far as like how they are seeing it or how they are like thinking about the system, I feel like a lot of artists start to grasp the potential of open form. They give us a lot of feedback of like extra things they want to add to like manifest sort of like their artistic version with it, and we are happy to accommodate that. So we're like, I think we have like roughly like 100 artists of like wanting to release. And I think the big difference is that, especially for this like rollout phase that we have right now, FXHash used to be an open platform where anyone could create at any time. But right now we're really sort of like taking a more like substantive approach, like to highlight each release that is coming, also because it makes like our life easier with like a developing protocol, sort of like to just like introduce new features with like each art drop. And that also makes it much easier for the collector because we can't, in that sense, we don't have to screen for quality control. We don't have as much, not junk on there, but there was a lot of work on FXHash that maybe was more like a P5JS tutorial. And that's okay because we had more than, I think, 40,000 projects on there. But like we had like an amazing hit rate because 5% of those projects were, in my opinion, truly like generational and one of the best generative artworks that we had. But we had to switch that approach slightly, or like are doing now.
I have to ask about this actually.
Do that.
This was such a touchy point that people had even with art blocks, where you said this is just a P5JS tutorial, because there was, I mean, especially in 2021, if you had, you know, a Greek statue, blank avatar, and like, I don't know, whatever, cinema 4D crap, you could make a truckload of money. Same thing was true in generative artwork. And I think that's really interesting. So I guess I'm curious, like, it feels like the entire internet has leveled up in their skill and ability to make things. It's now increasingly obvious when someone is doing like beginner materials. And so I guess I'm just wondering, how do you filter out for those things? And like, if people want to learn and participate in these things, what's the right resources for them to look at rather than copy pasting crummy tutorials?
I think as far as like the filtering out goes, that's at least right now for us rather easy because we're introducing like a completely new form of generative art that hasn't been before. Like with the evolutions that are happening, like you can't copy paste something that hasn't been done before, right? So that's the one part of it. I think generally speaking, it is also us being really close with the community. We have, again, like Cyphered is a generative artist. We have Gorilla Sun on our team, who's also a generative artist. All of our devs are adjacent, have released works themselves. So we think that we know what is not good or bad generative art, but what is new generative art or what is just like a P5 tutorial to like put it in these like really like clear buckets. Not that everything is a P5 or it's like a great work. There's a lot of that is like in between, but it's just like being knowledgeable in the space. I mean, we've been around now for 4 years. We should be knowledgeable, and it's not that. Maybe you want to add that like a lot of the early work on art blogs is also great. Like there's a lot of great work on there, but there's also a lot of work that maybe is not as great or maybe shouldn't be as priced as it is. But it like if you release on the incumbent, then you just like you drift up with the float, and that's fine. But I think there's a lot of great generative art that is also not on our blogs but on other platforms, and it's worthy to look at some of the like amazing artists that also have released elsewhere and are continuing to release everywhere in that sense.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I've kind of always felt that I think the big thing missing in digital art, or at least crypto art, is just like the collector experience is just largely sucked. It's like, you know, the minting was fun, but then it just kind of disappears into your wallet and the story's over. So excited to see.
Yeah,
I feel like
stop.
It shouldn't stop. I feel like what you guys are building now is like a meaningful step to just like continue the story, or like add kind of more playfulness or, you know, interaction with the actual piece of art. I think just the existence of fungible tokens makes things more fun, and the fact that you can, you know, have that and also, you know, re-roll or, you know, evolve art, and just kind of blows open the this like continuous storytelling that artists can do, I think is really awesome. So yeah, Paul,
Exactly.
appreciate you jumping on. We're gonna have to bring Simon up here, but yeah, recommend everyone go check out the new platform. I was playing with it this morning. It's interesting. I assume you guys are gonna have kind of constant drops coming up over the next
constant
2 months.
drops and constant updates. We know right now the UX is as shit as it ever gonna be. So if you have any feedback, let us know. Our camera board is full of it. Like, we are releasing updates essentially daily right now. But it's great to see you get so much feedback. And honestly, it's fun. Tomorrow we'll have a great new drop with Galo, who has released on like art blocks on FXHash, like on Verse with Unit London. I think it's a great aspect of like the evolution sort of like. So yeah, have try it out, have fun minting, and we're here to help you in that sense.
Amazing. All right, Paul, we'll get you back on in a few months to check in on how things are going. Appreciate you jumping on.
Definitely. Bye bye. Thank you.
Much.
Peace,
Ciao.
man.